My fiancée slept with her ex while wearing the ring I bought. So I exposed everything on wedding day and walked out with her sister. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and I thought I found the love of my life. Her name was Claire. We met at a bookstore of all places. She was reaching for a book on self-love, and I cracked a lame joke about how I probably needed that more than she did. She laughed. And it was the kind of laugh that sticks in your chest days later. Warm, disarming, the kind that makes you want to hear it again and again. From that day, things moved fast, almost too fast. But we had that magnetic, undeniable chemistry people write songs about. We'd stay up until 3 a.m. talking about nothing and everything, cook meals together that always ended in flower fights, and binge old sitcoms until we fell asleep on the couch. It didn't feel like dating.
It felt like home. 6 months in, I proposed.
Yeah, I know.
People told me I was rushing it.
But when you know, right? I planned it for a cool October night. We went out to dinner, and when we got back to my apartment, I had filled the living room with candles and little notes I had written to her over the months. Memories, private jokes, promises. She walked in, read each one, and when she turned around, I was on one knee with the ring. She cried. Full, messy, I love you more than I can say tears. She said yes between sobs. We hugged on the carpet, surrounded by flickering candlelight. I'll never forget how tightly she held me that night. Like she was choosing me fully. Both our families were thrilled. My mum said, she's the best thing that's ever happened to you. And honestly, I believed it too, but looking back, there were signs. She still followed her ex on Instagram. Still brought him up from time to time. He really messed me up, she'd say, with this faraway look in her eyes.
I thought it was just unresolved pain.
Ghosts she was letting go of, but I never thought she'd run back to the same man who once shattered her. Wedding planning is supposed to be one of the most exciting times in your life.
But for me, it slowly started to feel like I was walking alone. Right after the engagement, Claire was glowing.
She was calling florists, texting cake samples to her sister, pinning dress ideas like a maniac. But by the time we hit month 3, something shifted. She got cold.
Not angry, not distant in a fight me kind of way.
Just emotionally frozen. Like I'd been quietly moved into a different category, one she didn't feel the need to nurture anymore. She was always on her phone, constantly texting, screen tilted just out of my view. I'd walk in a room and she'd lock it so fast it looked rehearsed. Just work stuff, she'd say, or bridesmaids group chat drama. But the smile didn't reach her eyes. She started cancelling our date nights, ones she had planned. I'm exhausted, she'd say, or I've got a late shift. She works in event planning, so I figured she was just slammed with other people's weddings. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being replaced. One night I brought it up, softly.
I told her I felt like I was losing her. She rolled her eyes.
You're being too much. It's called stress, babe. Then she turned over and went to sleep. It wasn't just me who noticed. Her sister Emily pulled me aside during a Sunday brunch. She hesitated like she didn't want to get involved, then finally said, "She's acting."
Off. Different. I don't know what's going on with her, but she's not herself. That hit me harder than I expected.
Emily and Claire were close, if even she could feel it.
I wasn't imagining things, but every time I tried to lean in, to be present, to talk, Claire pushed me away.
"Stop hovering," she snapped one night.
"You're suffocating me." I went to sleep that night wondering how I'd gone from planning a future with her
to feeling like a stranger in my own relationship. A few weeks later, I needed to order a replacement charger and couldn't find mine anywhere. Claire had left her laptop open on the kitchen table, and I figured I'd just use hers real quick. I wasn't snooping. I swear to God I wasn't. But as soon as I pulled up the browser, a pop-up notification slid into the corner of the screen. Hotel confirmation, suite for 2 guests, 3 nights.
Reservation Claire M. The check-in date?
Next Friday, her so-called bachelorette weekend. I clicked it. My chest immediately tightened. It wasn't our honeymoon hotel. It wasn't even the city we planned to visit after the wedding. It was somewhere closer, secluded, romantic, spa services, champagne package, late checkout. This wasn't a bachelorette party, it was a lover's retreat. I sat there staring at the screen, feeling like my rib cage was slowly caving in. When Claire got home that night, I didn't wait.
I asked, "Hey, I saw a hotel confirmation pop up on your laptop."
For next weekend? She barely blinked. Oh, that's for the girls. Emily and I are doing a surprise spa trip. Detox before the big day. She said it so casually, so convincingly, I almost let it go, almost. But something didn't sit right. Later that night, I opened the email again. I scrolled down to the reservation details. Guests Claire M. and Daniel S. Daniel. Her ex, the one she swore she had blocked. The one she cried about. The one who broke her. I sat there in the dark, the laptop screen glowing blue on my face, wondering what the hell was happening. Was I losing my mind? Was this a mistake? A coincidence? Was it possible I didn't know the woman I was about to marry? I didn't confront her. Not yet.
I just sat there,
wondering how much of my life was real and how much was just a script she'd been performing. I told her I had a weekend work retreat, packed a fake bag, kissed her goodbye, and drove straight to the hotel listed in that confirmation email. It was about an hour outside the city, tucked away in one of those scenic hillside resorts with floor-to-ceiling windows and fireplaces in every suite. The kind of place you'd take someone you loved. I parked across the street just before sunset. My palms were slick with sweat.
I couldn't breathe right.
Part of me still hoped I was wrong, that Daniel wouldn't show, that maybe she really was here with Emily, laughing over facials and wine. Maybe I was just a paranoid idiot. At 6:42 p.m., I saw her. Claire stepped out of an Uber, dressed in a long burgundy coat and heels I'd bought her for Christmas. She paused at the entrance, checked her phone, then walked into the lobby alone. No friends. No Emily. 10 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up, and Daniel stepped out. I recognized him from the one old photo she once showed me, back when she was opening up about her past. That same arrogant smirk, tall, tan, like he knew the world would always open doors for him. He didn't hesitate. Walked right in, and then, through the lobby glass, I saw it. She smiled.
Not just any smile. That smile.
The one I thought she saved for me, and then she kissed him. Long, familiar, like it wasn't the first time. My heart didn't break. It disintegrated. She was still wearing my ring. They checked in hand,
laughing like a couple on their anniversary. And I just sat there, in the car, watching it happen. I didn't scream. I didn't chase them.
I didn't confront her. I stayed in that parking lot the whole damn night, shaking, crying, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. The sun rose, and I was still there, because I had no idea what to do next, except drown in the feeling that my entire life had just become a joke. I barely remember the drive back. I must have replayed that moment in the hotel lobby 100 times, her lips on his, the ring on her finger, the look on her face like nothing she had with me ever existed.
I didn't sleep, didn't eat.
Just sat in silence for hours, staring at the wall like it might offer some kind of answer. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The next evening, I called Emily. She showed up at my apartment with a worried look on her face, holding a tray of takeout and a bottle of wine. She always had this nurturing energy, completely different from Claire's chaotic magnetism.
I didn't even let her get settled before I cracked. I told her everything.
The hotel, Daniel, the kiss. She didn't say anything at first, just sat there frozen. Then she looked down, sighed, and whispered, "You need to see this." She reached into her tote bag and pulled out her phone.
Scrolled for a second.
Then handed it to me. Screenshots, dozens of them, texts between Claire and Daniel. "I miss your hands." He has no clue. Total puppy dog. "Let's do the thing again in the cabin this time. Wedding's in 3 weeks." Just hang in there. My mouth went dry. My vision blurred. How long have you known? I managed to choke out. Emily looked ashamed. I saw them sneaking around at Dad's birthday. They said they were just talking, but
I followed her once. I saw him in his car. It wasn't just talking. I stared at her in disbelief. Why didn't you tell me?
she looked me dead in the eye. Because I didn't want to be the one who broke your heart. She took a deep breath. But now I want to be the one who helps you get even. And in that moment, something inside me shifted from heartbreak to fury. I wiped my eyes, straightened my back, and called Claire the next morning. I didn't scream.
I didn't mention the hotel. I didn't say a word about Daniel. I just asked if she wanted Thai food for dinner. Are you okay?
She asked, her voice tight. Yeah, I said, keeping my tone even. Just work stress. Let's get back to planning, okay? And just like that, she was sweet again. Overnight, she transformed back into the woman I proposed to, calling me baby again, kissing my cheek when I walked past, asking about napkin colors and wedding playlist options like nothing had ever happened. It was almost impressive. The performance. The ease with which she slipped back into the role. She really thought she got away with it, but I wasn't the same man anymore, behind the scenes. Emily and I were planning our own production. We printed everything, the texts, the hotel receipts, even timestamps of Claire lying to my face while she was with him. I built a full timeline, dates, messages, GPS pings. Emily helped cross-reference photos Claire posted on social media with hotel bookings. The proof was airtight. I also called my old college roommate, Jason. He's a professional videographer who shoots weddings for a living. I told him, I need you to film something a little different. And without asking for too many details, he said he was in every moment that Claire kissed me or gushed about our future, just added fuel to the fire. Every I can't wait to be your wife felt like a slap. But I smiled, I nodded, I kissed her back, because if she wanted an unforgettable wedding, I was going to give her one and she'd never see it coming. The wedding day arrived like a slow-moving storm, quiet, beautiful, and filled with the kind of tension you feel in your bones. Everything was perfect on the surface. The sky was clear. The garden was blooming with fresh white roses. The guests arrived in pastel suits and champagne dresses, holding tiny programs with our names printed in gold foil. Claire looked stunning. She wore a lace gown that hugged her in all the right places, her hair curled just enough to look effortless, her smile glowing like she hadn't destroyed me just weeks ago. And that's what made it all feel so surreal. Watching her walk down the aisle, bouquet in hand, eyes locked on mine like she couldn't wait to start forever. It was like seeing a stranger perform a part in a movie I didn't audition for. She looked right at me with those same eyes that once swore loyalty. But I knew what those eyes had seen.
I knew whose hands had been on her body while she wore the ring I gave her. I smiled. Jason?
My friend with the camera stood just off to the side, steady and ready. Emily sat in the front row, perfectly still, a barely noticeable nod of solidarity when our eyes met. The music faded. The officiant welcomed everyone. People sniffled, dabbed tears, held hands. Claire began her vows. She cried.
Real tears.
Maybe she was proud of her performance. Or maybe the guilt finally hit her. Hard to say. You are my anchor, my home.
My forever, she said. She reached for my hand. I took it. Then came my turn. I looked around the crowd.
Our families, friends, co-workers, people who thought they were witnessing a love
story. I took a deep breath, and then I reached
into my jacket and pulled out the envelope. Thick, heavy, one filled with every lie she thought would stay buried, and I watched her face shift, just slightly, like a crack in perfect porcelain. I held the envelope in my hand like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Claire's smile started to twitch. Her fingers curled slightly around her bouquet. The officiant glanced between us, confused. I unfolded the first page.
My voice was steady, calm, not cold, just
Done. I miss your hands. He has no clue.
total puppy dog. Gasps. I flipped the page. Slowly. Let's do the thing again in the cabin this time. Claire's face drained of colour.
A nervous laugh broke from her lips like she thought this was some elaborate joke, but no one was laughing. I held up the final page. Hotel confirmation. Claire M. and Daniel S. suite for 2, 3 nights. The same weekend she told me she was with her sister. The crowd was silent. Then someone whispered, "Oh my God." Her father stood up.
Claire, what is this?
Her mother's hand went to her chest, eyes wide with betrayal, tears streaming before a single word left her lips. Claire finally broke.
I can explain. Please, just let me. I shook my head slowly and leaned in. You wore the ring I bought you.
While sleeping with your ex. That sentence alone seemed to shatter her. Her legs wobbled. Her lips parted.
Nothing came out. I turned to the crowd, every guest who came to celebrate a lie. This woman doesn't deserve love. She deserves the truth. There was no yelling.
No chaos, just silence, shock, disgust. Phones were already recording. Eyes were everywhere. Claire looked around, desperate for anyone to stand by her. No one moved. I stepped back. The envelope dropped to the ground like dead weight. And without another word, I turned, leaving behind the ruin she created, the mess she made, and the mask that had finally cracked beyond repair. For a long moment,
no one moved. The officiant stood frozen.
His mouth slightly open like he'd forgotten how to speak. A bird chirped somewhere in the distance, the only sound cutting through the thick silence. I took one last look at Claire. She wasn't crying anymore.
She just looked hollow.
Like the mask had fallen and there was nothing behind it. I reached for her hand, not to hold it, but to remove the ring. My fingers brushed hers, and she flinched like I was fire. I slid the ring off slowly, the same one I had saved up for. The one I thought meant forever. Then I dropped the mic at my
feet. It hit the ground with a harsh clunk that
echoed through the garden. Gasps
followed me as I turned and began walking down the aisle alone. I kept my eyes ahead,
not daring to look back. But then, halfway down, I saw her, Emily, standing tall in the middle of the aisle,
eyes locked on mine. She stepped forward without hesitation, and she reached for my hand. The moment her fingers slid into mine,
the entire crowd reacted like a collective lightning bolt had struck. Mouths dropped, chairs creaked, phones came back up. The shock turned into something else, something louder. Behind me, Claire screamed, her voice cracking like glass. "You can't be serious!"
Are you kidding me? Emily, what the hell are you doing? Emily didn't even blink. She turned calm as stone and looked Claire dead in the eyes. You lost a man, she said softly. I found one. Claire's face twisted. Rage, pain,
disbelief all crashing into each other. But I didn't stop walking, hand in hand. Emily and I kept moving forward, and this time I didn't look back. Turns out one of Claire's cousins had been recording the entire ceremony on their phone. Not just the vows, the texts, the hotel receipt, the mic drop, the walkout.
Emily taking my hand. Everything. By the next morning, the video was already on TikTok, captioned, "This groom exposed his cheating bride at the altar,"
and walked out with her sister. It hit 1 million views in 12 hours. By the end of the week, it was everywhere. YouTube reaction channels picked it up.
Reddit threads blew up. Memes, remixes, edits, people dissecting every word I said.
Every facial expression Claire made, every slow-motion shot of Emily taking my hand, like it was the climax of a movie, The Comet. Sections were brutal, the most satisfying revenge I've ever
seen. This man is a king. She fumbled the bag and the ring. Emily needs a crown.
too. Claire tried to stay quiet at first. Then she posted a vague story about private matters being exploited. It backfired instantly. Screenshots from the wedding kept surfacing. People dug into her old posts, exposing years of lies. Her employer found out. She was let go due to reputational concerns. Even Daniel, her ex, he ghosted her, blocked her on everything once the story went mainstream. Her family disowned her. Her dad personally called to apologize. Her mum sent me a handwritten letter. I didn't respond. There wasn't anything left to say. And me? I got emails from podcasts, influencer agencies, even a grooming brand asking if I'd like to be their new face of resilience. I laughed for the first time in weeks reading that. It felt like justice, but also a weird kind of fame, like my heartbreak had turned into entertainment for millions. But somehow, I was okay with that. After the dust settled, Emily and I disappeared for a while. No phones,
No comments.
no trending hashtags or interview requests. Just the two of us in a quiet cabin by the lake, tucked away where the internet couldn't reach us. We slept in, cooked breakfast together, took long walks in the woods without saying much. Sometimes silence is the only thing that heals. One night, sitting on the porch wrapped in a blanket, she finally spoke the words I think she'd been holding in for years. "I used to watch how you looked at Claire," she said softly.
And I kept thinking, he deserves someone who looks back the same way. I didn't respond right away, because the truth was, she had looked at me that way. I just never let myself see it. She told me she always admired my loyalty, even when it was misplaced.
She hated watching her sister chip away at me, gaslight me, lie to me, make me feel small. But she didn't know how to step in without making things worse. And now here we were, not chasing each other.
Not forcing anything, just being still. Together we weren't dating. We
Weren't planning the future. We were healing, letting our connection grow.
naturally, without the shadow of betrayal looming over us.
Without pressure to perform or prove anything. And in that quiet, I started to understand something I never had before. Sometimes love isn't what you find first. It's what stays when everything else falls apart. It's who holds your hand when the crowd turns, who shows up after the storm, not to fix you, but to sit with you in the wreckage until you're ready to stand. Emily didn't save me. She reminded me I was worth saving. To anyone who's ever been betrayed, your pain isn't weakness. It's proof you still believe in love. You believed someone could be honest. You believed the promises meant something. You believed you were building something real. And when it fell apart, it wasn't because you were naive. It's because you were brave enough to try. I used to replay everything in my head. The lies, the hotel, the kiss, her vows, but not anymore. Now I don't feel anger.
I don't feel regret. I feel
Free from pretending. Free from shrinking myself to be loved. Free from waiting on someone to choose me when I'd already chosen them. It's funny. Life has a way of burning down the parts you cling to most. But what's left behind? That's the part that's real. Today I wake up next to someone who never had to lie to love me. Someone who held my hand when the world was watching and didn't let go when it got hard. Her name's Emily. And no, this isn't a fairy tale. It's not some perfectly packaged ending. It's just peace, the kind that comes after the storm, when the sky finally clears and you realize you survived, and maybe that's enough. For those wondering what happened after everything, I'll leave you with this. Insert image, a selfie of us in hoodies, messy hair, holding coffee mugs. Mine says Groom 2.0. Hers says Better Sister. No captions.
no explanations, because sometimes healing doesn't need a headline. I didn't lose a fiancé. I found freedom.